Okay, let's be real for a second. You text him, you wait, and you wait some more, but nothing. He's online, he's active on social media, maybe even liking other posts, yet your message left on read. And suddenly your mind starts racing. Did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest? Should I text again? Stop. Take a deep breath, because here's the truth. When a man ignores you, panicking and chasing him is the fastest way to push him even further away. But here's the good news. You actually have way more power in this situation than you think. In this video, I'm going to share 3 powerful strategies that work every single time to shift the dynamic back in your favor. These aren't the usual cliche tips you've probably heard before. No playing childish games, no fake pretending, and no begging for attention. We're talking about real, psychology-backed moves that not only make him rethink ignoring you, but also make you the one in control. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do when he goes silent, how to trigger his curiosity, and most importantly, how to protect your confidence and self-worth in the process. So if you've ever been ignored, ghosted, or left wondering what happened, stick with me. The next few minutes could completely change the way you handle this situation, forever. Let's talk about something that drives so many women crazy. When a man suddenly starts ignoring you. One moment he's texting, calling, being attentive. And then, out of nowhere, it feels like he's disappeared into thin air. And naturally, your first thought is, what did I do wrong? But before you start overthinking or blaming yourself, here's the truth. Most of the time, it's not even about you. Men ignore women for a variety of reasons. And surprisingly, many of them have more to do with what's happening in his own head than with anything you did. Sometimes it's because he's overwhelmed. Men often deal with stress differently than women do. While we may want to talk, connect, and find reassurance, a lot of men retreat when they're facing problems. Pulling away gives them space to process their emotions, their career, their goals, or even personal insecurities. Another common reason is that he's testing boundaries, consciously or unconsciously. Some men want to see how much you'll chase them. They want to know if you'll lose yourself trying to hold on to them, or if you'll stand firm in your value. If you immediately panic, blow up his phone, or start questioning him, you're actually feeding into the dynamic where he holds the power. And without realizing it, you confirm his suspicion that he can control your emotions. Then there's attraction. Sometimes ignoring you isn't about punishment, it's about comfort. In the early stages of dating, if a man feels like things are moving too fast, he might step back to recalibrate. It's not that he doesn't like you, it's that he wants to be sure he's in control of his feelings before taking the next step. Of course, there are times when yes, he's losing interest. But here's the thing, when a man ignores you, chasing him is never the solution. You cannot convince someone to care by sending longer messages, calling repeatedly, or confronting him emotionally. That energy usually pushes him further away. The reality is, when a man pulls back, your reaction determines the future dynamic. If you panic, you lose power. If you stay calm, confident, and composed, you instantly become more attractive. Remember, silence can be incredibly powerful. When he feels your absence instead of constant pursuit, that's when curiosity kicks in. And curiosity is what draws him back. Understanding why men ignore you isn't about playing games. It's about understanding psychology, protecting your self-worth, and responding in a way that shifts the energy back to your favor. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you next. The 3 powerful strategies you can use to turn this entire situation around. Here's the first and most important thing you need to understand. When a man ignores you, the energy you put out shapes the way he responds to you. Most women make the mistake of pouring all their focus into him, analyzing his every move, replaying conversations, and obsessively checking for a reply. But when you shift your energy back to yourself, everything changes. Think about it. The moment you start chasing, calling, double texting, or demanding answers, you're subconsciously saying, "My worth depends on your attention." That energy is heavy, and men can feel it instantly. Instead of drawing him closer, it pushes him further away because attraction is built on curiosity, not pressure. So, when he ignores you, the first shift you need to make is internal. Instead of spiraling into fear and insecurity, remind yourself, I am valuable, with or without his response. This is where your true power lies, not in convincing him to stay, but in radiating a confidence that naturally pulls him back toward you. Now, I know it's tempting to overcompensate when you feel him pulling away. Maybe you start texting more, posting things on social media just to get his attention, or asking mutual friends what's going on. But here's the truth. The more energy you give away trying to figure him out, the less attractive you become. Desperation repels, self-assurance attracts. This doesn't mean you should play cold, pretend you don't care, or start a power struggle. This is about being grounded in your worth and choosing actions that reflect it. When you shift your energy toward yourself, focusing on your passions, spending time with friends, working on your goals, and genuinely enjoying life, you instantly become magnetic. You're no longer waiting for him to validate you because you're already validating yourself. And here's the surprising part. When you stop chasing, you give him space to actually feel your absence. That's when curiosity kicks in. He starts wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're no longer seeking his attention. That shift in dynamic is powerful because it flips the script. Instead of you trying to pull him closer, he starts moving toward you. This is not manipulation. This is self-mastery. When you protect your energy, you protect your value. And men are naturally drawn to women who know their worth without needing constant reassurance. So, before we even get to the next strategy, remember this. You don't need to change who you are to get his attention. You just need to redirect your energy back to yourself. That's where attraction begins, and that's where your confidence thrives. Now, this second strategy is where everything begins to shift. And I need you to really hear me on this. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power. Most people believe that if someone ignores them, the way to fix it is by talking more, explaining more, and fighting for attention. But the truth is, when a man pulls away, words won't bring him back. Energy will. Here's why. Attraction is fueled by curiosity. When you respond instantly, chase for explanations, or constantly check in, there's no mystery left. He knows exactly where you stand and exactly how much you care. And in his mind, he doesn't have to do anything to keep your attention. But when you choose silence, you create space. And in that space, his mind starts working overtime. I'm not talking about playing manipulative games here. This isn't about ghosting him back or pretending you're mad. It's about emotionally detaching just enough to focus on yourself instead of obsessing over him. Stop texting first. Stop checking when he was last online. Stop rearranging your entire day waiting for a reply. When you take your energy back, you send a powerful subconscious message. My life doesn't revolve around you. And trust me, that energy is magnetic. Silence works because it flips the emotional dynamic. Suddenly he's no longer certain where he stands with you. He starts questioning why you're not reacting the way most people would. He wonders if he's losing your attention, and that curiosity makes him want to reach out again. The key is that you're not doing silence to punish him. You're doing it to protect your peace and dignity. During this time, redirect all that energy inward. Pour yourself into your passions, spend time with people who uplift you, and invest in things that make you happy. When you shift your focus from him to you, two things happen. First, your confidence naturally rises. And second, your energy becomes lighter, freer, and far more attractive. Men are instinctively drawn to women who know how to hold their ground and don't hand over all their emotional power. Silence and detachment allow him to experience the consequences of ignoring you without you having to say a single word. And when you finally do communicate again, it's from a place of strength, not desperation. That shift changes everything. But silence is only part of the equation. In the next strategy, I'll show you how to trigger his curiosity and rebuild attraction in a way that makes him want to come closer, without you ever having to chase him. Alright, this third strategy is where everything comes together. This is the point where you stop reacting to his silence and start shifting the entire dynamic back in your favor. If a man is ignoring you, one of the most powerful things you can do is trigger his curiosity and rebuild the attraction without ever having to beg for his attention. Here's the truth. Curiosity drives desire. When a man feels like he already has you, when he knows you'll always be there no matter how he behaves, the mystery fades. And when there's no mystery, there's no spark. That's why, if he's ignoring you, chasing after him only makes things worse. It reassures him that you're not going anywhere. But when you subtly shift your energy and start living in a way that makes him wonder what's going on in your world, everything changes. This doesn't mean you need to play childish games or pretend to be someone you're not. It's about reintroducing unpredictability and making your life feel bigger than just him. Start saying yes to new experiences. Post a photo of you out with friends, laughing, enjoying life, not to show off or make him jealous, but to genuinely show that you're thriving, independent, and fulfilled. That energy is magnetic because it sends a powerful message: I'm not waiting for you to validate me. You see, attraction isn't built through constant availability. It's built when there's just enough uncertainty to make him lean forward and pay attention. When he notices that your energy is no longer fixated on him, he starts to wonder, what's changed? Who's capturing her attention now? Is she moving on without me? That curiosity is what pulls him back in, far more effectively than words ever could. But here's the most important part. You're not doing this to manipulate him. You're doing this to genuinely reclaim your power and step into your highest value. Men are naturally drawn to women who have a rich, full life. Women who inspire them, challenge them, and make them feel like winning their attention is something worth working for. That's the kind of energy that keeps him invested. Now let me give you a little secret. Most people don't talk about when a man ignores you. It's often not personal, but your reaction determines whether he keeps ignoring you or comes back. If you chase, you confirm his control. If you detach and elevate your energy, you shift the balance. Suddenly he's the one wondering where he stands with you. That uncertainty reignites attraction because he has to earn your attention again, and deep down men value what they have to work for. The real goal here isn't just to get him back. It's to rebuild a dynamic where he chooses you because he sees your value, not because you begged for it. And once you master this, something incredible happens. You stop fearing his silence, because you know your worth doesn't depend on his attention. That confidence makes you magnetic. That energy makes you unforgettable. So instead of worrying about why he's ignoring you, start focusing on creating a life so fulfilling, so exciting, and so full of self-love that he has no choice but to notice. That's how you trigger his curiosity. That's how you rebuild attraction. And ultimately, that's how you take back your power without ever having to chase him. All right, we've talked about shifting your energy. We've talked about using silence, and we've talked about triggering his curiosity. But eventually there comes a moment when he reaches out. Maybe he texts, maybe he calls, maybe he sends that classic, hey, after days or weeks of silence. And this is where most women make a critical mistake. They overcompensate. They respond too quickly, say too much, or try too hard to explain their feelings. Here's the truth. The way you respond when he finally reaches out determines whether you regain control of the dynamic or fall right back into chasing. First, let me be clear. Responding without chasing doesn't mean ignoring him completely. It means responding in a way that reflects your value and shows that you're not sitting around waiting for his attention. If he sends a one-word text like, hey, you don't need to reply with 3 paragraphs pouring out your heart. Instead, keep your energy light, short, and casual. Something like, hey, hope you're good. That's it. No questions, no chasing, no trying to force the conversation. The goal here is to match his level of effort, not more, not less. When you meet his energy, instead of over-delivering, it sends a subtle but powerful message. I'm interested, but I'm not desperate. That balance is what makes you attractive, because it shows you respect yourself enough not to over-invest in someone who isn't matching your energy. Another powerful approach is to delay your response slightly, not out of manipulation, but because your life is genuinely full. If he texts you at 2 p.m., you don't have to respond at 2:01. Take your time, finish what you're doing. When you're busy living your life, your energy naturally shifts, and men can sense it. That independence is magnetic, because it shows you have a world beyond him. Now, here's where it gets even more important. Never confront him emotionally in your first reply. Avoid messages like, why haven't you replied? Or I guess you don't care about me. As tempting as it feels, it creates pressure, and pressure kills attraction. When you respond from a calm, grounded place instead, it keeps the dynamic in your favor. If he engages in a genuine conversation and wants to see you, that's when you set boundaries. You can say something simple like, I'd love to, but I need a little more consistency if we're spending time together. Notice the difference here. You're not begging him to prioritize you. You're inviting him to step up. And if he doesn't, that's your answer without you ever having to chase him for clarity. The key to responding without chasing is this. You're not rewarding inconsistent behavior with unlimited access. You're showing, through your actions, that your attention is earned, not guaranteed. And when he realizes that, he starts valuing it more. This approach flips the entire dynamic. Instead of you constantly trying to pull him closer, you create a natural pull, where he starts investing more to keep your attention. It's not about playing hard to get, it's about being hard to lose. And when you master this, something incredible happens. You stop fearing his silence, you stop begging for his attention, and you finally create a healthy balance where attraction can actually grow. Before we wrap this up, I want you to pause for a moment and really take this in. You are so much more powerful than you realize. When a man ignores you, it can feel personal, painful, and even overwhelming. But the truth is, his silence does not define your worth. It does not diminish your value, and it does not determine whether or not you are loved, desired, and appreciated. This entire video hasn't just been about him, it's been about you. It's about shifting the way you see yourself, the way you carry yourself, and the way you allow people to treat you. When a man pulls away, your natural instinct might be to panic, to fix things, to hold on tighter. But here's the secret. Most women don't realize, the more you grip, the more you lose. Attraction thrives in freedom, not fear. Your energy is your greatest power. When you pour it into yourself, your growth, your happiness, your goals, your passions, something magical happens. You become magnetic. People feel it, men sense it, and the right man, the one who truly values you, will be drawn to that energy without you ever having to chase. Now, I want you to remember this. The strategies we talked about today are not about manipulation. They're not about playing games or trying to outsmart him. They're about helping you step back into your power and creating space for someone to meet you at your level. When you shift your energy, when you embrace silence, when you trigger curiosity and live fully, you naturally attract someone who chooses you because they see your worth, not because you begged them to stay. And if this man doesn't rise to the occasion, that's your clarity. That's your sign that your energy, your love, and your presence belong with someone who respects it. Walking away from someone who can't meet you halfway is not a loss, it's a victory, because it opens the door to something better. I want you to start seeing yourself as the prize, not in an arrogant way, but in a grounded, confident way. When you know your worth, you stop settling for crumbs. You stop chasing attention. You stop questioning if you're enough, because deep down you finally understand that you already are. So if you're in this situation right now, I want you to take a deep breath and release the pressure you've been carrying. You don't need to fight for someone who's not showing up. You don't need to force love, and you definitely don't need to lower your standards just to keep someone around. The right person won't leave you guessing. The right person won't make you question where you stand. And until that person shows up, your job is simple. Choose yourself, love yourself, and protect your energy. If this video helped you, remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are millions of women out there rediscovering their power, and you're one of them. So take these strategies, apply them, and watch how everything begins to shift. And if you want more deep dive advice like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Because your transformation is just beginning, and I'll be right here, guiding you every step of the way. We've come full circle, and now it's time to bring everything together. If you've watched this far, it means you're serious about understanding how to handle this situation with strength, dignity, and confidence. And that already sets you apart from so many others who let panic control their actions. Let's recap what we covered today. Because these strategies only work when you truly internalize them and put them into practice. First, we talked about the psychology behind why men ignore you. We broke down the real reasons it happens. And most importantly, we learned that in so many cases, it's not about you. Sometimes he's stressed, overwhelmed, or unsure of his feelings. Other times he's testing boundaries, consciously or unconsciously. But no matter the reason, your response is what determines the dynamic going forward. That's where strategy 1 comes in, shifting your energy, not your worth. Instead of pouring all your focus into him, You take that energy back and invest it into yourself. You stop seeking his validation and start reminding yourself of your value. This shift alone changes how he perceives you. And more importantly, it changes how you perceive yourself. Then we moved into strategy 2, the power of silence and detachment. This was a game changer, because silence isn't about punishment. It's about creating space. It allows you to pull your energy back, stop overgiving, and let him feel your absence. It's in that space that curiosity grows. And as we discussed, curiosity is what reignites attraction. Finally, we dove into strategy 3, triggering his curiosity and rebuilding attraction. This is where you elevate your energy by living a fulfilling, magnetic life that naturally draws him in. You stop chasing, you stop proving, and you start becoming a woman who is so focused on her growth and happiness that people can't help but notice. That's when the power dynamic flips. And instead of you trying to win his attention, he starts competing for yours. We also talked about how to respond when he finally reaches out without chasing. By staying calm, confident, and in control of your words, you show him through your actions that your time and attention are valuable. You're no longer giving unlimited access to someone who hasn't earned it, and that in itself is incredibly attractive. So what are your next steps? Simple. Start by choosing yourself. Apply these strategies, not just to make him miss you, but to reclaim your energy and self-worth. Stop giving power to his silence, and instead shift your focus toward the things that make you happy, fulfilled, and confident. Here's something I want you to remember. The goal isn't just to get him back, it's to get you back. Because when you stand in your value, you don't have to chase love. The right person will recognize your worth without hesitation. And if you want to go deeper, if you want more insights on relationships, attraction, and self-worth, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Every week I share tips and strategies to help you step into your power and create the love life you deserve. Remember, you are the prize. You are worthy of love, respect, and consistency. Don't settle for anything less. When you choose yourself first, the right people will always rise to meet you. So take a deep breath, hold your head high, and walk forward with confidence, because this is the start of a new chapter for you. You've got this, and I'll be right here, guiding you every step of the way.